Welcome, FNUSA57 here. Once again, I'm on my Xbox One today to bring you yet another detailed video. In this video, I'm going to cover actually about 3 different things, so you might want to grab something to jot some notes down on. But the primary purpose of the video is going to be to cover how to unlock the Seriously 5.0 Chapter 2 achievement. This achievement was just added to Gears 5 in Operation 8 Content Drop 1. It has a rare unlock rate of 0.01% and is currently a 150 gamer score achievement. In order to complete this achievement, you must complete 50 re-ups, complete the campaign on inconceivable difficulty, master all Hives and Horde maps, and have every single class in the game currently to level 20. Now, with all of this being said, I have made other videos that specifically covered these various topics. There will be links in the description to those videos. I would recommend that you watch them, but if you do have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to help you out. Now, unfortunately, the achievement is not going to actually pop the notification of it unlocking in this video due to the fact that I was recording, but then unfortunately my computer ran out of hard drive space and it didn't save the recording, so I'm having to re-record this. Which brings me to my third thing. The achievements in Gears 5 and a few other games randomly do not unlock when you actually meet the unlock criteria for those achievements. I am using this video as an example due to the fact that I have been arguing this point with certain members of the TA or True Achievements staff, and I figured this was a perfect example to show achievements do not always unlock when you meet the criteria. Now, if you watch my video on the Horde 1 to 50 Master difficulty for Turbine, you will notice that over 24 hours ago, I should have unlocked this achievement. So I should have unlocked this achievement on 8/5/2021, but if you look, it says that I unlocked the achievement on 8/6/2021, and if I go to my notifications, you will see that it says achievement unlocked 1 hour ago. So it would have been unlocked at 5:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 8/6/2021, when it should have been unlocked around, basically around the same time, or maybe at the, okay, maybe not 24 hours ago at the latest, but it should have been unlocked on 8/5 when I finished the map. Anyways, just using that to point out the fact that achievements do not always unlock when they are supposed to. Let me know in the comment section below if you've ever experienced this with any game and achievements where the achievement doesn't unlock when you meet the required unlock criteria. This is especially common in the Gears of War franchise, the Destiny franchise, and the Halo Master Chief Collection. In any case, moving on, what we have to do for this, I'm going to explain every single requirement. I really wish I could show you the achievement popping, but unfortunately, I can't. It did pop as soon as I loaded the game, though, which is why I'm so disappointed about it, because I love that little achievement unlock sound. But we have to complete 50 re-ups. That's the first requirement. Now, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, I am re-up 51, level 38, so I've already done that. The re-ups are relatively easy to do now. Originally, they were not easy to do, but I will go ahead and show you what the most efficient way of completing these re-ups are. There's 2 maps that are super efficient for doing this on, and unfortunately, this is the best character class, or not character class, sorry, the best profile XP farm. It does not work well for character class XP. You only get 100 every time you do it, and it does not give you any skill card, so bear that in mind. There's also a free boost weekend currently just started on the 6th as well, and that increases the amount of XP that you get. So I have a separate video on this. The map is the Descent, difficulty Masters, and we are going to be using the Protector class because that's the easiest. Now, this will award us with a minimum of 3,200 profile XP with boost outside of any XP events, of course, and outside of having other people with you, roughly every 2.5 minutes. Now, the cycle time can be made faster if you are playing on like an Xbox One X, Series X, or just a really good PC. I am currently playing on a Xbox One Advanced Warfare Limited Edition console, so my load times are slower than those of the newer consoles or consoles using an SSD drive. With that being said, though, this is a very simple process, and we'll be able to repeat this process on one of two maps. I will show you both maps. You can also obtain the re-ups organically by simply playing really any of the multiplayer Escape or Horde, where you will earn XP. You even earn XP in custom PvP games, but none are as efficient. Even if you were doing speed runs, they're not as efficient as Kick the Leech. Now, with that being said, Kick the Leech is the most boring thing, and you would probably rather slam your head in a door before repeating this for all 50 re-ups. However, yeah, don't lose heart. You will eventually get the 50 re-ups done. Oh, and then there's 10 more re-ups that they just added with Op 8. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to run down from the starting point. Be careful that there isn't an enemy right at the front, because it is possible. Usually there can be an enemy right up front. Then wait for a leech to come by. Kick the leech, wait for the first ribbon to pop up, pause the game, go down twice and hit restart act, wait for it to fade to black, pause the game, go down to return to lobby, and select that option. By doing this, we are awarded technically the full XP, regardless of the fact that we did not complete the hive. This has existed in the game since, well, honestly, I think it's existed in the game since about Operation 3. It might really have only come to light in Operation 4, but the Coalition hasn't made mention of it, and they pretty much just don't care. So this method does work. Like I said, it's at least 3,200 XP with boost prior to any other modifiers, roughly every 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes is a lobby-to-lobby cycle time. However, that time can be made faster based upon your loading times. Now, my times are a little bit longer because I am also recording at the moment. As you'll see, our base XP is 1680, and then with the bonus, we have 7,320 from boost with the 400% XP event, and 150 for the ribbon. So all told, we have received over 8,000 XP for kicking the leech. The other map that you can do this on is Lethal Engagements. Again, master difficulty, but what you have to do changes slightly. However, this map on average is around 11 seconds slower lobby-to-lobby time, and it doesn't reward quite as much XP. It's like maybe a couple hundred less XP, but you can do it on this map. It's personal preference. Now, when it comes to other methods of profile XP farming, the next two best options would be to speed run the Surge or speed run the Clock. If you're going to do Surge, it's on insane difficulty. If you're going to do the Clock, you can do it on master difficulty. Both maps are very easy to complete, especially if you have a team of players with you. Now, the Surge on insane takes roughly 4 to 5 minutes to complete, whereas the Clock on master difficulty typically takes 5 to 10 minutes, depending on team and seed set, to complete. But you do gain class XP and you gain skill cards, so depending on what you're trying to farm, those are both viable options for you as well. I'll also cover right after this which escape maps are the most difficult. I have videos posted on how to master most of the escape maps, and definitely the majority of the Horde maps. The Horde maps are a little bit easier due to the fact that once you've watched one guide, you'll have a pretty good idea on how to master each one of the Horde maps, but I will point out the ones that are more difficult, and then lastly we'll cover all of the classes, leveling those, which technically can be done with the speed runs and the cards that I would recommend to use. So for this map, all you do is you open the door and you go ahead and kill the first enemy, wait for the first ribbon to pop up, go down, hit restart act, wait for the fade to black, go down, hit return to lobby. Now, depending on exactly where the enemy is and what the enemy is, you may get an execution, you may have to 3-piece the enemy and then meat shield them. There's a number of things that can be different from exactly what I showed there, so just bear that in mind. But let's go ahead and take a look at the end XP for that. Of course, this can also be done in co-op if you want, if you have honor rank with somebody, but when you play this in co-op, it will be based on whoever has the longest loading time. So even if you're playing on the world's best PC, and the person you're playing with is playing on an old outdated Xbox, you're going to be waiting on the person who's on the old outdated Xbox to load into the game, which probably wouldn't be worth it for the increased, like, 15% XP. Now you'll see our base XP was only 1,600 for that, and we only got 7,000 bonus XP and then the 150. While still a viable option, it's not as good as playing Kick the Leech. Now let's check out the escape maps. Most of the escape maps are pretty darn easy. The clock is just ridiculously easy on master difficulty. The ones that are the most annoying, especially on master difficulty, would be ones like Forever, Lethal Engagements, Last Stand. Melee Brawl can be very frustrating, but what makes these maps frustrating is generally because to play it on master difficulty, there's a modifier that says that a specific enemy type does freezing, and that will almost instantly freeze you even across the map, so that's super annoying. But other than that modifier for the choke, that's relatively easy. Descent is long but easy. In my opinion, the most annoying maps would be Gatekeepers, the Link, which, unless you're... That one's just an annoying map. The Line is ridiculously aggravating, because of the fact that it's all Scions with special abilities. Onslaught can be kind of annoying, but it's not that bad. The Split is really annoying because most of the time salvos don't fire properly. And the most annoying map is Venom Run, because it has multiple bad modifiers like faster Venom, super fast Venom, and ultra stopping power, making it so you pretty much just have to sprint to the end, and only a few classes can successfully do that and survive. Next up is the Horde maps. Now when it comes to Horde, this is a totally different story. You can do Frenzy or 1 to 50 games. There is a master emblem for both, but the other event modes don't matter. When it comes to the Horde maps, they're all relatively easy. Foundation, Abyss, Allfather's Arena, Blood Drive, Atrium, Asylum. Those are all easy maps. Bunker is very annoying. It's a very large map with minimal cover from flying units, so it's just frustrating. Canals can also be a very slow map, very frustrating depending on how you set up. Checkout is relatively easy. The Dam is extremely frustrating because there's no cover from air units, and it's a very large map. Command is super easy. Clock Tower is very frustrating due to the fact there's no cover from aerial units, so a Kestrel or Wakatu can wipe your entire team very easily. District is extremely easy, especially if you set up in the arcade. Afira is very frustrating. This is one of my top 4 most hated maps. There's a giant building that blocks your view for long-range engagements. Plus the map is large, causing the game to take longer, and when the enemies do finally present themselves, it's in relatively close to medium distance engagements, not giving you much time to actually kill the enemies, especially bosses. With, again, no cover from flying units. Exhibit is easy. Harbor is mostly easy, except there's no cover from flying units, so bear that in mind. Gridlock, super easy. Forge, super easy. Icebound, probably one of the more frustrating maps for most people due to the lack of cover from aerial units and the obstructions to long-distance line of sight. Lift, extremely annoying due to the fact that there's really no good spot to set up, no cover from aerial units, and very tight, cramped quarters with the energy taps normally spawning away from where the players would set up. Mercy, really tight quarters with minimal cover from air units, but with a good team, actually kind of a fun map. Overload, one of my most favorite maps. Love this map. Fantastic for speed runs if you have a team that can do it. Nexus is another easy map. Moving on to one of my most hated maps, Pahanu. This map is absolute shit and should be deleted from the game. It doesn't play well for Horde at all. There's no good spots to set up. Placing fortifications is extremely annoying because of the uneven terrain. The taps typically spawn in the middle, and there is no cover from flying units with terrible crossfire from multiple angles. Rail line is easy, but tight, cramped quarters. Reactor, another map that should be deleted from the game. Terrible for Horde. You're crossed from no matter where you set up, at least 2 to 3 different directions with multiple avenues of avenues of approach. Sorry, I'm trying to rush through this since it's my second time recording it. But if you take this game slow with a forage jack, you should be alright on Reactor. It's just really annoying, and the energy taps usually don't spawn in good locations. Reclaimed is relatively easy. River is awesome. It's one of my favorite maps. Ritual is medium to hard difficulty just because of the size of the map. There's no good cover from air units, and there's just so many random pieces of cover on such a big map that it makes the game take exceedingly long. Regency is another absolutely horrible ass map that should be deleted from the game. It's my third most hated map due to the fact that you can have a boss spawn within about 10 feet of either spawn point where most of the time players will set up. Even setting up in the spawns, you're still crossed from 3 different avenues of approach. And there's zero cover from air units, plus the taps 95% of the time do not spawn anywhere as close to you. Spire is another annoying map, but totally doable. The main thing is minimal cover from air units, a large map, and the fact that the energy taps typically spawn along the main road, making them useless. Tomb is a really cool, easy map, but there's only really one effective spot to set up, which is up top, and you need to mirror explosive classes so you can have one covering each side, plus minimal cover from air units. Training Grounds, medium to hard difficulty due to the fact that it is a large map with minimal cover from air units again, and the fact that the avenues of approach, while only being 2 if you set up in either spawn, are very close, so you have a very short amount of time to engage the target effectively. Last up being Turbine, a super easy map with only 2 avenues of approach and decent cover, and Vaskar being a medium to hard difficulty map with 3 avenues of approach, absolutely no cover from aerial units, and generally speaking relatively cramped quarters to set up in. As long as you are playing the maps on master difficulty outside of a daily challenge, you will have to contend with the if everyone wipes, it's game over survivor modifier, more health, more lethal, a regen penalty to the player, more aggressive enemies, which is a really annoying modifier because not only does it make the enemies move faster, it also makes them attack faster. Regeneration, which allows the enemies to regenerate their health over time, and power drain, making fortifications build cost increase. However, there are also daily challenge Horde maps and daily challenge escape maps, as well as a weekly challenge escape map. For the daily challenge Horde map, you will face a wide variety of different modifiers, like today's map that has more lethal, vampiric enemies, more health, the only regenning cover, then the vampire modifier for the player, survivor, and a regen penalty. Not really that bad, but frustrating. Now, let's go ahead and cover the last requirement for the Seriously 5.0 Chapter 2 wonderful little fine achievement right here with a super cool achievement art, I might say. And that is all classes to level 20. Now, thankfully, classes have been separated from the actual character, so now you can have all of the classes, and technically you could run 5 of a kind if you wanted to. I have several videos doing that. So first off, we will cover the assault classes, and the way that I'm going to do this is from the customized screen, so you can see both Horde and Escape stats. So, first off, Assault. Blademaster, a class good in both Horde and Escape, but arguably better in Escape. Card loadout for Horde: Thrill of the Hunt, Blade Dancer, Energy Surge, Brawler, and Shock Chain. If you want specific class builds, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to make those videos if I haven't made them already. For Escape, Blademaster, Thrill of the Hunt, Venom Blade, Shock Chain, Brawler, and Venom Resistance. Venom cards cannot be used in Horde, just so you know. They can be equipped, but they do nothing. Next up, Demolitions. One of the most important classes for Horde, kinda useless in Escape. This class is mainly meant for killing bosses, and is fantastic at doing so despite the multiple nerfs. Cards: Razor Hail, Spotter Support, Officer's Prerogative, Custom Boomshot, and Confirmed Kill. For Escape, Demolitions, pretty much same thing. Razor Hail, Custom Boomshot, with the added benefit of having good kill and usually the grenade card. But like I said, this class is not as viable in Escape as it is in Horde. Infiltrator, pretty much the exact opposite. Absolute god in Escape, but after the nerf, moderate benefit in Horde. Decent though. Mostly I like to use an execution build, with the cards being Chain, Laceration, Blood Resonance, Cloak Batteries, and Reaper. However, switching over to Escape, you'll find that I use usually an all-shotgun build, which is Custom Gnasher, Blood Resonance, Reaper, Laceration, and Enhanced Stim. Again, this does depend upon the daily modifiers if you're doing a daily map, as well as what map you're running. You may use different cards. Marksman, I use the exact same setup in Escape and Horde. This class is great on both Escape and Horde. In Escape, as long as there's a long shot, though. I usually use Exploit Weakness, Modified Long Shot, Ambush, Long Shot Handling, and Explosive Critical Hit. Nomad. There's multiple different builds for this. However, I generally run an execution build in both Horde and Escape. Phase, Menace, Concussive Rounds, Execution Shield, and Nomad Armor. Moving on to the tank classes. Anchor, a very good class in both Horde and most Escape maps. For Horde, I run Bloody Shot, Crazy Tough, Harness Energy, Barrier Battery, and Bullet Chain. In Escape, though, the cards are slightly different. I run Bolthawk Bandolier, Bloody Shot, Adrenaline Junkie, Crazy Tough, and Venom Resistance. The change is obviously due to being able to run the Venom cards. Next up, Brawler. A good class on certain Horde maps if you know how to play it, and a great class on most Escape maps. For Horde, I use Scorcher Mastery, Pyromaniac, All the Glory, Perk Up, and Play with Fire. For Escape, on the other hand, though, depending on the map, I use Torch Tackle, Inner Fire, Perk Up, Damage Dash, and either All the Glory or Soothing Warmth. Next up is Gunner, a class with multiple different builds. However, the build I find to be the most beneficial in Horde is Team Resist, Heavy Charger, Heavy Capacity, Bait Armor, and Reflect Shredder. In Escape, though, you can really switch this up and use a bunch of different stuff depending upon the map, but generally I run Reflect Shredder, Heavy Capacity, Heavy Charger, Concussive Explosives, and sometimes even Mulcher Mastery, again, depending on the map. Next up, Pilot. I run Bleeding Mulcher, Aggressive Armor, Healing Explosives, the Hammer, which is probably the Pilot's most important card, and Cold Finish. This class is fantastic in both Horde and Escape, but it's really only peak beneficial in Escape if there is a drop shot on the map. So you'll notice that one card does change for Escape, and that is the fact that we change the Healing Explosives for the Silverback Salvo. Next up, Veteran. Veteran cards remain the same for Horde and Escape. The class is mostly beneficial to Horde, but is useful on certain Escape maps. Band of Brothers, Focus, Headshot Master, Custom Lancer, and Brutal Efficiency are my go-to cards. This is for the Lancer build, not the Longshot build. Those cards remain the same when playing Escape unless you want to use score boost cards. Next up, support classes. The Combat Medic. A great support class, however not really that impressive as far as a damage dealer. Mostly beneficial in Horde rather than Escape. The cards, Intervention, Helpful Headshots, Suppressive Recharge, Custom Lancer, and Grenade Pouch are the cards that I use for Horde. For Escape, the build varies greatly depending upon the map. Normally I'll use something like Epic Score Boost, Razor's Edge, Perfect Conditioning, Intervention, and Helpful Headshots. Next up, the class that can only be played in Horde and cannot be played currently in Escape, Jack. There's two different builds for this support class. I generally play a offensive or combat Jack, which uses Backstab, Rampage, Explosive Hijack, Zapper Upgrade, and Mind Control Expert. However, you can swap Zapper Upgrade and Mind Control Expert for Portable Resupply and Optimizer if you're going to forge on a 1 to 50 game for a short amount of time. Portable Resupply has a hidden effect where when you're carrying a weapon, you remain invisible, so it's an absolute must-have for a Forge Jack. For a low-level Jack that's going to be entirely support, Portable Resupply, Optimizer, Healing Upgrade, and Healing Reach would be what I would recommend. As I said, this class cannot be used in Escape. Next up, Mechanic. Probably the second most needed class in the game. You always need a good engineer, and Mechanic is the most efficient, despite the fact that their ultimate is nearly unusable due to the fact that it lags the game for almost 2 seconds for all players involved. This class is mainly used in Horde, but can occasionally be used in Escape. For Horde, I recommend running Healing Repair, Efficient Fabrication, Overclocked Locker, Ingenuity, and Armor Plating. For the class in Escape, you could run Custom Robotics, Robotic Porting, Long Range Resistance, Personal Defense, and Shredder rounds, but the class really is not viable for Escape under normal circumstances. The next engineer class is the Robotics Expert, which let me just put a pin in this information and say, please guys, if you are playing Horde, let the engineer, either the Mechanic, the Robotics Expert, or God forbid you're playing with only a Architect, let them build and upgrade all fortifications, because otherwise you're just making the game more difficult on yourself. For this class, there are multiple different builds, but I generally always run Global Overclock, Global Sentry Upgrade, and Precision Repairs, with the last two cards being personal preference, but I normally run Bloody Support and Experimental Weapons. This class is a god in Horde and decent on Escape maps if there's a lot of DB weapons like M-bars or overkills, tri-shots, shock grenades, things of that nature. For the Escape setup, I run Bloody Support, Experimental Weapons, usually a Score Boost card, Melee Resistance, and Bloody DR1. Obviously, the Score Boost does nothing but help you with score runs, so that can be swapped out whenever you like. Next up is the last support class, the Tactician, a fantastic class in both Horde and Escape. In Horde, I run Shredder, Resupply Amplifier, Recharge Bounty, Resupply Duration, and Resupply Healing Module. Whereas in Escape, I run Venom Boost, Venom Explosive Resupply, Shredder, Resupply Duration, and Recharge Bounty. Last up being the promotional shit classes. Pardon my French, but all but one of these classes are just garbage, and there's better classes that could be used. Architect is really not a class that's viable for most Escape maps, and it should be your last choice. It's better than nothing when it comes to an engineer, but it's pretty dookie. So, in Horde, I would recommend Repair Efficiency, Hologram Extend, Top of the Line, Regenerative Field, and Hologram Lifetime. Should you use this class in Escape, Stim Capacity, Deception, Top of the Line, maybe a Score Boost card if you want it, Hologram Lifetime. Next up, the only promotional class that I actually like. And this class is really good. This class is basically the opposite playstyle of a Blade Master. Where Blade Masters play in Escape in the Venom, the Protector can play ahead of the Venom. This class is great in Horde and Escape if played correctly. The cards pretty much remain the same. Big Knife, Regenerative Field, the Nasher mod, Close Range Recharge, and Bloody Blade, unless you are going ahead and running a score run, in which case you'll run the Score Boost cards. Next up, Slugger. Mostly the same cards for Escape, but only really viable in Escape if there's frag grenades. Viable on Horde, as long as you don't mind constantly hearing frag out, tossing frag, grenade out, planting frag, It's really annoying. It's also easy to blow yourself up because there's really no way to tell how far the blast radius is on the frag grenade. But the cards I would recommend are Grenade Proficiency, Power Shot, Grenade Capacity, Lethal Preparations, and Impact Receiver. Those are the same cards for Escape as well. Last but not least is the Striker, a class that surprisingly actually can be used on certain Escape maps to decent effect, and in Horde, but I would still rather have a Protector or Blade Master if I was to have a melee class. However, for the cards, I use GSD, Stim Siphon, Melee Rush, Blunt Instrument, and First Strike. These cards remain the same for Escape as well. Now that covers all of the classes, and as far as getting the cards leveled up, you don't have to have the cards leveled up to level 6 for this achievement. I really wish there was an achievement for all level 6 cards in the game, but sadly the Coalition didn't do that. In any case, though, as far as the best way to level these classes up, make sure that you always pay attention to what the daily is for Escape and for Horde, because sometimes they have that little icon that says that they award a certain amount of class XP. And obviously, if you can, you want to take advantage of that class XP on a class that isn't level 20. Otherwise, the best way to farm class XP, if you only have a few players online, is to do speed runs of the Surge or Clock, like I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, the next best way, if you have the team on to do it, is by doing speed runs on Overload in Horde. And if you don't have the team online at all, well, just playing is better than nothing, I suppose. Also, you could consider doing Jingle Juvies. Now, back in December during the XP event, you could complete the Jingle Juvies event on Icebound, all waves of it in under 50 minutes, which with boost during the XP event, it yielded 57,000 class XP for a single completion. I have no idea if that is still working because, well, sadly, I have no way of earning class XP, so I have no way of actually testing that. I would greatly appreciate it if anyone does test that. Let me know in the comment section below how much class XP you got for either an inconceivable or master completion and how long it took you. This way I can add that information in to see how effective it is. Now, with that being said, I do believe I've covered everything that is required for this particular achievement, the Seriously 5.0 Chapter 2 achievement. So I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this achievement. Leave a comment. Let me know, like I asked earlier, about Jingle Juvies if you do play it. And let me know if you've had any trouble with any of the achievements not unlocking correctly. Because, well, like I said, this is proof it didn't unlock at the correct time. With all that being said, enjoy your new shiny achievement, and let me know if you need any assistance. I will do my best to help out as much as possible. So please do me a favor, smash that like button because it greatly helps in the searchability of videos here on YouTube. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe for more content and make sure you turn that little bell icon on. This way you never miss a notification for a new achievement guide, review video, or just general tutorial. I really truly hope you enjoyed this achievement, and the last thing I'm going to show is going to the official club real quick so that you guys can actually see when this achievement unlocked, which this is mostly for proof to the TA or True Achievement staff. Because unfortunately, achievements do this all the time. So here is the achievement, Seriously 5.0 Chapter 2, unlocked on 8/6/2021, which sadly it doesn't show the specific time the achievement was unlocked, but that should be a pretty decent explanation as to unlocking the achievement, especially if we combine that with the notification that says I unlocked an achievement 1 hour ago that I showed at the very beginning. Now, I truly hope that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, my fellow Gears, keep those Lancers clean, and remember to stay frosty.